So you're trying to buy a home right now. You know that feeling, right? It's one of the most stressful things you can possibly do. And it feels like no matter how hard you work or how much you save, the goalposts just keep moving. Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly who is moving them.
Does this hit a little too close to home? I mean, you've done everything right. You saved, you built up your credit, you got the pre-approval. By every single measure, you are ready to buy a home. And yet, the math just isn't mathing. It's an incredibly frustrating feeling, and believe me, you are not alone. Okay, so if you've checked all the boxes, what's the deal? What's the obstacle? Well, the answer lies with a really small, powerful group of economic decision makers. You didn't vote for them, and most people have probably never even heard of them. But their choices, they have a massive, massive impact on the price you'll pay for a home.
And the source of all this power is America's central bank, the Federal Reserve. You've probably heard it called the Fed. And the decisions they make, way over in Washington, D.C., have a direct and almost immediate impact on your wallet.
So how does this actually work? Well, 8 times a year, this committee gets together in a room, no cameras, no public audience. They look at all the economic data, they have a debate, and then they announce one single number, a number that sends ripples through the entire global economy.
And that one number is the federal funds rate. The easiest way to think about it is like a master switch for the cost of borrowing money in the whole country. It's the base rate that banks use to lend to each other. And that cost? Well, it's about to get passed down the line.
Now, to be fair, the people in that room aren't trying to make your life harder on purpose. They're actually juggling 2 competing goals. Their job is to keep prices stable, that's controlling inflation, and to keep as many people employed as possible. So when prices for everything are going up way too fast, they raise rates to cool things down. And when the economy is weak, they lower rates to try and get things going again. Your home buying journey is caught right in the middle of this giant balancing act.
So how does a decision made in some quiet room in D.C. actually end up changing the price of a house on your street? It all happens through a super fast and predictable chain reaction.
It's a surprisingly direct 4-step process. Okay, step 1, the Fed makes its announcement. Step 2, instantly it changes how much it costs for banks to borrow money. Step 3, and this one's no surprise, the banks pass that new cost directly on to their customers, you. And that leads to the final step, step 4. The mortgage rate a lender's going to offer you has now changed.
All right, let's make this real. This isn't just some abstract economic theory. This has a real-world dollars and cents impact on your monthly budget. Let's look at just how dramatically this one number can change everything. Just look at this shift. In only 2 years, the average rate on a 30-year mortgage shot up from around 3% to over 8%. Wow. And that wasn't because of something happening in the housing market itself. No, this was almost entirely because the Federal Reserve was raising that one key number to fight inflation.
And here is the gut punch. Let's just imagine a $400,000 home, okay? Same house, 2 different realities. In 2021, with that 3% interest rate, your monthly payment would have been around $1,686. Not bad. But by 2023, with rates at 8%, that payment on the exact same house jumps to almost $3,000 a month. That is a completely different financial universe.
That is an increase of nearly $1,250 every single month. For most people, that change, that one single change, is the difference between a home being affordable and being completely, totally out of reach. And you know, this system doesn't hit everyone the same way. It absolutely creates winners and losers. If you already own a home and you locked in one of those low fixed-rate mortgages, you're golden, you're protected. But if you're a first-time buyer, you get hit with this brutal 1-2 punch. You're facing the high prices from the low-rate era, plus the new crazy high borrowing costs. It's a dynamic that really just widens the gap between people who already own property and those who are trying to get their foot in the door. But look, understanding all these forces isn't about getting discouraged. It's about getting smarter. So let's build a new playbook, a new way to navigate the market as it actually is, not as we wish it were. Okay, here are 3 strategies you can actually use. First, track the rate cycle. The Fed is pretty open about its thinking. Pay attention to what they say. Are they hinting at more hikes or are they talking about cuts? This gives you a sense of which way the wind is blowing. Second, separate the price from the rate. Remember, you can always refinance a high interest rate later when things change, but you are stuck with the price you pay for the house forever, so focus on a monthly payment that you can actually afford. And third, forget the national headlines and focus on your local market. The news might be yelling about a housing crash, but if your town has a ton of jobs and not enough houses, your reality is going to be way different.
The people setting these rates, they're not thinking about you and your home search. They're trying to steer the entire U.S. economy. So your job isn't to fight this system. It's to understand the rules of the game so you can make smart moves that work for you instead of just reacting to scary headlines.
So ultimately, this knowledge gives you a choice. You can keep being a passenger, just getting tossed around by the market's unpredictable waves. Or you can become the navigator. You can use this understanding of these powerful currents to chart your own course to owning a home. The choice is yours.